In this Excel tutorial, we'll go over the different types of merging problems you might want to solve and the best way for solving them, including best practice VLOOKUPs, Excel Power Query, databases, and R-tidyverse. You may be surprised to find that some of these options are actually much easier than VLOOKUPs and can be done without ever having to leave Excel. It's worth to watch this video to see if VLOOKUPs are actually what you need to use. If you want more details on beginner to advanced use of VLOOKUP formulas, please see my other video. Let's quickly discuss the different types of merging problems you might want to try and solve with VLOOKUPs in Excel. Let's say you have a list of employees in table A and another list containing additional employee details such as salary and department in table B. You can use VLOOKUP formulas to add that additional data to your primary employee list. In databases, Power Query, and R programming, this is known as a left join. Join because you're joining these two tables together, and left because you're adding data to the left table. The other types of joins that are not really covered by Excel formulas include right joins, inner joins, outer joins, and anti-joins. VLOOKUPs in Excel are similar but not exactly the same as a left join. One of the key differences is if you have duplicate lookup records in table B, for example, employee history, which includes what department the employee was in for the last 3 years, a VLOOKUP formula will only pull back the first record. On the other hand, the default behavior of a left join is to pull back all 3 records. Joins can also be used to pull back only the first item, the same way that a VLOOKUP does. VLOOKUPs require a separate formula or some sort of column lookup like a match formula to pull on more than one column, whereas joins tend to pull on multiple columns by default. VLOOKUPs are relatively slow in comparison to joins, so if you find that VLOOKUPs are slowing down your spreadsheets, then switching to a join can give you an immediate performance boost. The primary benefit of VLOOKUPs over joins are that they are built right into native Excel and offer interactivity. For example, if you have a model that does a lookup based on the value in a drop-down menu, then it's nice for your spreadsheet to be able to show those results straight away when that option changes. Other than that, your best option is generally to use some sort of join if the option is available. Probably the easiest method for most Excel users to start out with is Power Query, which is a free add-in from Microsoft that works with Excel 2010 and Excel 2013. Power Query was renamed to Get and Transform in Excel 2016 and is built right in, so no further add-in is required. Power Query allows us to easily apply joins to any dataset. Even prior to Power Query, it was possible to create joins from within Excel by connecting to a database. Since Power Query has been around for over 6 years now, I'm not going to dive into the older methods here, since Power Query encompasses all of that anyway. Note, a lot of data that people work with tends to come out of databases in the first place. People often extract that data by downloading extracts from systems like SAP or BI tools such as Business Objects, Cognos, or Oracle Business Intelligence. In principle, you should only download the information that you need from these systems so that less data needs to be transferred over your network, which is the biggest bottleneck of any data workflow. Secondly, you're not having to process large data sets on your computer, which are going to get largely thrown away anyway through the filtering and aggregation process. In practice, large data sets often do get extracted from these databases so that analysts can join on extra data sets that exist outside of the systems or apply custom logic before they conduct their analysis. Often this is done in a secondary database such as a local copy of Microsoft Access or SQL Server. This is done largely because Microsoft Access and SQL Server allow you to join much larger sets of data faster than VLOOKUPs in Excel. Since the very concept of joins originated with databases, it would make sense that a database would be a good tool for joins, but they're actually not. Here's why. Relational databases have been around for several decades now and are generally optimized for transactions. In other words, reading and writing lots of data to a hard drive. Aggregating and analyzing data is generally very slow, which is why we use technologies such as OLAP to pre-aggregate certain dimensions of our data and serve it back in memory. OLAP is the technology that powers most data warehouses and is actually a somewhat dated technology now, and thus it tends to be a bit rigid and slow to refresh. You may have heard of the term in-memory processing. In short, it basically means that things get processed exponentially faster than they could on a hard drive. It's pretty easy these days to get a laptop which already has, say, 16 gigs of RAM, which is the memory. Hard drives are and always have been much larger, with laptops coming with 1,000 gigabytes of hard drive storage these days. In any case, 16 gigabytes of RAM is more than enough to process several million rows of data in memory on a laptop. This is where R comes into the picture. R can perform all of your joins and other analysis in memory, so it performs much faster than the database and much faster than Excel. Even with Power Query, your bottleneck for doing analysis in Excel is the sheet-based model, which is not able to handle calculations on very many rows, which means you may have to truncate or aggregate your data more than you'd like to. In R, this generally isn't going to be an issue. More advanced users of Excel may say that Excel can also provide in-memory processing of millions of rows of data through the use of Power Pivot, which is also another free add-in from Microsoft that works with Excel 2010 and Excel 2013. Power Pivot is also built into Excel 2016, but unfortunately only on very limited editions of Excel 2016. If you have the wrong version of Excel 2016, you can't even install the add-in anymore, which I think is a real letdown on Microsoft's part. Although Power Pivot is integrated with Excel, it really is a different product and really requires learning the DAX language, which I personally believe is harder to learn and less flexible than just learning R. At the end of the day, what you need to know is that VLOOKUPs in Excel handle a very specific type of left join on relatively small data sets. Understanding the concept of joins will allow you to work much more effectively with data across a wide range of tools. If you need to do any type of join, you should really use either Power Query or R to do those joins for you. Power Query is easier, but R is more powerful and more flexible. All of these are free tools.